Today, I want to talk a little bit about manifestation, and not from the perspective of you get to rub a lamp and a genie comes out of the bottle and grants all of your heart's wishes, but something a little bit more grounded, a little bit more practical and experiential, just based on my experience with it over the last 15 or 16 years. So let's go back, let's rewind a little bit. I've been dabbling in the metaphysical stuff, practices and tools for about 15 or 16 years. The first time I ever used the technique of manifesting consciously, because we're always manifesting, right? Because the law of attraction just states, that you are getting exactly what you are putting out. Like who you are is what you receive. Not what you want is what you receive. Who you are is what you receive, right? But I was about 25, I think, when the book Creative Visualization fell into my lap. Now, when I read the book and it said that I could visualize something and that's how I could get what I want, I thought it was bullshit. I said, okay, let's try this. And I said, I want to manifest going on tour, and then I want to travel. And this was very unlikely considering, although I was a musician, I didn't have a record. I didn't have original music. I was more in like cover bands, and I didn't have a fan base. So like, where am I touring? Typically when you tour, you would have one, if not all of those things, right? So, but I asked for a tour anyways. And I kind of did it like, like we'll see how this works. But there was also this element of, what's the word I'm looking for? Whimsical kind of hope. And like, maybe, like there was a lot of looseness around it. There was no attachment because there was part of me that thought maybe this is kind of BS. But it said, all right, universe, this is what I want. And I kid you not, 2 weeks later, I get a email from a man who manages an all-girl tribute to Led Zeppelin. And he asked me if I want to come to New York and audition because they're about to go on a 3-month tour. And the band leader was the guitar player, and they had just lost their singer. So I said, of course. And I went to New York and I auditioned. And wouldn't you know, I got that gig. I was on the road for the next 4 months. We were in a different city every night, and I was fronting an all-girl tribute to Led Zeppelin, singing my favorite songs for sold out rooms. We played Webster Hall. We played the Key Club, Webster Hall in New York, Key Club in LA, among many others that I can't remember the names of because it's been quite a while. But that was my first taste of utilizing the tool consciously of manifestation and seeing immediate results. And it's interesting that I'm saying this out loud. I'm like, God, that was pretty magical how quickly that works. I'll tell you what, now that I know what I know now, I'm pretty sure it's because I was so unattached, because I was kind of like, yeah, this is probably not real. But then once it happened, I went, oh my God, this is so real. And I started using manifesting more frequently. But the more I saw the efficacy of it, the more attached I became and the more obsessed I became. So I noticed that some things would manifest for me over the years and some things wouldn't. Once again, lots of magical things. I got deeply into Abraham Hicks, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and really started to understand the power of my mind, started to pay attention to my thoughts and understanding that my thoughts and feelings were in fact creating my reality around me. Couple other cool things I manifested was a complete new home studio. I had started building Pinterest boards of like different boho style apartments that I liked, and they were all beautiful and colorful with lots of plants. And one day I got an email from somebody saying, we're doing a home studio makeover show. Would you like to partake? And I said, sure. And I auditioned, I got it. And they gave me a $15,000 home studio makeover. So the reason I'm sharing this is I want you to know that I've got some practice in this over the years. It's been about 15 or 16 years at this point of using it consciously. Now, the next part that I want to get to is the reason I keep saying consciously is there's so much stuff that we're manifesting all the time, but it's unconsciously. Because it doesn't just work of like, oh, I get to ask for what I want and then I'm going to get that thing. Law of attraction doesn't work like that. There are a lot of things that you can will from your determination and your intention and your ego. Sure. Achiever, driven mindset, eye on the prize. Sure. But it goes much deeper than that, because unconsciously you could be putting out completely something completely different to the universe, which would communicate far more than your words and your visualizations ever could. And that's why we get into the work of shadow work. Shadow work is essentially shining the light of consciousness on anything that you have been afraid to look at about yourself, right? Because there's so many things that we don't like about ourselves. We have shame, we have guilt, we have regret. We just tuck under a rug, but it didn't go anywhere, right? So the shadow work is what we do to heal all of that and clean all of that up so that we are not unconsciously manifesting what's actually in our shadow. Now, this does get into another level of what becomes more of a co-creation. Instead of going, I can create this with my mind, it becomes, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this at all. And the next level of manifestation is understanding that you are working as a co-creator with Source God, the universe itself, and that you were actually never in control to begin with. And that's an interesting shift in consciousness. It's an interesting realization to have. What's interesting about the word create is the paradox that it is in itself, because, Albert Einstein said energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Well, what does that mean? It means everything that ever could possibly exist, past, present, future, already exists right now. So we're never really creating anything. We're only revealing something that's already there. And the way that we do that is with our thoughts and our feelings. Our intention that follows the thoughts and feelings, and the action we take from that. So I'm going to pause this video. If you want a part 2, I would actually love to keep going, but I'm getting ready to go out of town. But I want to start this off as a manifestation part 1, and let me know if you'd like a part 2, and we'll get into some more around being the co-creator and then even recognizing yourself as the creator. All right, I'll see you in the next one.